I'm not trying to beat a dead horse here, MLB family, but we need to know what is coming, what is going to be happening this week. We know we have the third inning program coming up. You want to be prepared for it because it feels like it fixed a lot of the issues where XP was glitching out. So a lot of people are going to have to play the game normally to get their XP up. What's the best way to do that for the program? Let's look. Let's find out. I think we can make some stubs off this. All right, MLB family. I want you to see this screen right now. Okay, this is where we want to start. Because what we know, and this happens frequently, very, very frequently with inning programs, okay? Especially early on. We know we're going to get really good cards. We know that they're coming. We know it's coming. We see Lee Smith right here is 36,000 stubs, okay? When we look at his marketplace trend, it's actually up a bit. It's up a bit. The lowest point, call it the 22nd there on the map, somewhere around there. You will actually go back and see it. This marketplace trend for a lot of these cards that have been out, the 22nd, for most of these was kind of a low point. Some of these older cards too, right? Now, we see that some of them have dipped and all that right now. Cards like this from headliners are a little easier to get. But even look at cards like this, Familiar, 22nd. It's about 3 weeks into each month that these cards are basically falling. We see this is pretty consistent, right? I want you to see this for everything. Now, live series cards continue to drop as we had flash sales and all that. Even these cards right here, again, dip on those days. So we know that that's a time when things happen. People were trying to get rid of stubs. They're selling cards, right? So we know that these cards, Lee Smith in particular, maybe even Jason Bay, and some people got to get Don Mattingly, are going to be used as a collection. Okay, going to the next inning program. So that's what we're going to look at to start. Okay, so we know that this is coming. If you do this collection, you're going to get 50,000 XP. Well, what do you get for 50,000 XP instantly, right? At this point in time, if they do a similar reward structure, I mean, you got 9,000 stubs, couple players here. Maybe call that 12,000 stubs plus a headliner pack. You know, maybe call it 20,000 stub in value, right? To get that jump start. But it's also getting you real close up here because you got to get the 350. It's still a long way away. But there's also going to be lots of other collections. So if you don't want to do that, that is fine. There's lots of other collections that they introduced along the way here. I mean, so many collections to give XP, right? But the only reason you would collect these prior inning bosses is for that big XP boost. Me personally, what I would do with it, if you wanted to play it safe and you're not sure, and there's a little bit of risk involved here, is you buy those bosses. Or you buy one of them in hopes that one of them is the one that goes up in price. Okay? Because people are going to want these cards. These bosses were 95 overall. What overall do we think we're going to get this time? 97s? Probably. Maybe even 198 sprinkled in there. Maybe a pitcher at 98, something along those lines. You know that's got to be coming, right? And if we follow along the path of the first inning bosses, who were good cards in their own right. And Valenzuela, as good as he is kind of an enigma here with his price at 120. Look at his price has just climbed. And I remind you guys, we bought all these cards for around 30,000 stubs. Right before second inning came around. Even Kenny Lofton here. He's gone up. When we actually sold him finally for a nice profit, he was around 60, 65, I think, sold out. And we still are holding on to Piazza here. But we did end up getting this collection basically done. We had to collect those cards for the Rivera set, so we sort of had to show our hand a little bit there. But a card like Lee Smith is a very good, a very popular reliever. We can even look at his stats here for us. A couple games played with them. All right. he is the one that has the potential of going up. He matches up very well with Rob Dibble, who just came out, right? We see Dibble's around 55,000. Now, unlike previous years, because in previous years, those inning programs, they stuck around. So if you still had like a conquest or something else you could do, you could actually go get the stars for it, right? This year you can't. There's no way to get Lee Smith again starting on Friday. Is his price going to rise from 35,000 stubs? What do you think? What do you think? You can't pull Familia anymore. He's more expensive. What do you think? Are you going to go buy all of them? If you get all of them, you're to buy all 3 of the bosses. The one thing I don't want you to do is instantly lock them into the collection, because I want you to have them as sellable so you can make that decision, because it may actually be worth your while to sell them for profit potentially. You'll earn more stubs that way as opposed to getting the bosses early along with all the grind. Okay? Additionally, you may not need that 50,000 XP. Don't lock them in. The only reason you would lock them in is if you're right around 300,000 XP in the next Indian program. And if you lock them in right now, you can get the boss for a bigger deal in difference, right? I'm just saying that's the way it should be. I see so often people will do this collection as soon as the Indian program drops, they lock it in. Terrible idea. Because what if you lock this Lee Smith in right now? What if you lock him in Friday? You lock him in 35,000 stubs, and then by Sunday he's 75,000, and then base 45 and Madden Lee say 40, right? That's 170,000 stubs you locked in for 2 cards you're not gonna use. You may use Lee Smith, but you're not gonna use those other cards. You got to be really smart about this. They're gonna give us plenty of opportunities to get these bosses for free. Now, obviously, the most profit comes the quicker you finish. And again, if a lot of the XP stuff is patched, it's gonna be a grind. You can still get there. It's very possible, but it's gonna be definitely more of a grind. The longer you wait, the worse it goes. And we can even see something like that from the BR standpoint, right? So the latest BR rewards were Al Leiter and Trevor Story, who are hanging around 240,000 stubs right now. We finished the BR program earlier this week and sold Trevor Story for 325,000. And that was even a week after it had started. So it kind of held its price quite a while. Getting 100 stars or going 12 now, it takes a little bit of time for sure. But even then, now we could go pick one of them up and have the 40,000 plus stubs earned. And even then, this could be a little bit more. So I feel like the best move is to not go all in unless you really need that 50,000 XP. And I tell you what, 50,000 XP is not the hardest thing to earn in this game at all. You can put in the amount of time you can put in and not lock those 3 cards in is worth way more. It's worth way more than the minimum 120,000 stubs is going to cost you. Or the 50,000 XP doesn't take all that long. It's not, the time difference is not there. It's not there at all. Stay up an extra 2 hours. 60,000 subs is a lot of stubs an hour right there. If you could make 60,000 stubs an hour, you'd be playing this game 24 hours a day, right? I mean, you could obviously do it from flipping. So what I am going to do is invest. Just a little bit. I'm not going to go too deep. You see we got a lot of stubs here, but I'm going to put a little bit of risk on the table for us. I feel like we're going to see some growth in here. I'm not expecting a Fernando Valenzuela jump in these prices. No, I'm not. Maybe 50, 60K. Maybe that's the ceiling you hit. Maybe more if the third inning bosses get announced and they're amazing. Maybe a little bit less. There's a little bit of risk in here. How cheap can a 95 overall really be that you can't get anymore? Look at all these cards. They're the cheapest cards by overall, basically. They really are. And even then, look at these other cards. They're not that, you're not risking tons in there. How much is this boss going to drop? Piazza, who's been out since day one, you could still sell them for 30K. But you can buy these cards for 35, 35-1, 35-1, and 35-8. Right there. I'm just saying. We'll see. But that's where my head is at. Again, there is a risk involved. If you guys want to get these cards, by all means, only do if you can afford the loss. I think it's worth taking a look at for sure. I'm just saying, I'm trying to here to help. Just help out a little bit, and I want to let you guys know what we are doing. I went around and looked at the rest of the market. I didn't see anything I absolutely loved. The one thing you would obviously kind of point out really quickly is these 42 cards. Like the Pedro and Griffey are so much cheaper. And they're so much cheaper than these other cards. And the reason they are so much cheaper is if we look at the parallels, say a green parallel for Griffey is at 151,000. Frank Thomas is at 50,000, right? People aren't using these other cards, right? We look here, 28,000. Bob Gibson, 74,000. Pedro is another one up, 120,000. So the reason these cards are so much cheaper is people actually have these and we're using them. Sure, now you will see cards. Hopefully these cards are pretty close to number, but their price is definitely down. The lower the price, you'll see that Cal Ripken maybe only has 2 people who've used this card, probably, right? Only 77 people have actually tried to use that card, which is a really high number. Jackie, people have probably used a little bit less because if they have Jackie, they're probably going for the set. Same thing with Rivera here. So again, we see that these cards, while that much cheaper, are because a lot of people have them, and people who are picking these packs and getting the choice are going to pick cards that they want to use necessarily. And I think that's kind of a dumb idea. I would pick the most expensive card here. But again, I imagine that prices will probably regulate a little bit more in here. If you wanted to get some, those are obviously the 2 I would go after. But again, I think there's a risk because they're just so much more popular. We look at a lot of these other cards. I don't see a lot of value even investing in someone like a JD Martinez here right now. Don't like it. The Tops Now stuff, it feels like it's pretty much peaked. So much so that these old silver cards have already popped out at 5,000 value. And a lot of these cards here people have been getting, and people have just been a little bit smarter with it. As the month goes on, people get a little bit smarter for sure. Maybe the prices of these cards rises. But again, the May Hero is probably not going to be the world's biggest name either. Not a Buxton caliber, at least. It'd probably be a really good card, but these cards are still a little overpriced here as well. The Prime cards, again, we had an extra O'Day here, right? Got rid of him there. Maybe should have held him just because doing that collection is going to be there. Dibble, his price might jump up a little bit here as well. Wouldn't be surprised at all. Same thing with Baines. His price might jump up a little bit riskier once his kitchen sink packs go away. We'll see where those prices go. It'll give us a better idea for sure. Now let's end the video with a quick little couple packs here. I know this is a bit of a longer video, but I really wanted to get a lot of this through my head into you guys, talking about what's going on with the market and the game. And again, anytime you guys open packs, please scroll through here just to see if you have any of those rare, expensive bronzes and such. It just makes sense to look and see. If not, when you go back, just do a filter on the marketplace and scroll through all of them for sure. That's the best way to do it. That way you don't miss anything. You can set like a minimum or a maximum price on certain overalls. Just get it done that way. Make sure that you have maximum value. You're going to get maximum value back for whatever you've opened. Again, if I see something off the top of my head that is going for much more than quick sell, I'm going to write it down. I'm going to remember it to go look at it. And we don't really have anything in these packs yet for that. And again, that's fine. You're not going to pull those cards constantly, but with everyone open Team Infinity packs, the chances if you pull on some of those cards is pretty high, to be honest. Pretty high. Now I always just quick sell these jerseys and stuff. I'm not really overly worried about getting the extra 40 stubs and something like that. Same thing with these nameplates and all that. Meh, is what it is. Nothing in this little 10 pack. Turnbull's not a bad little card, but the rest of it was kind of cheeks. But again, that's how it goes. Be great. Good luck on your journey, and I'm out. Peace.